Your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com. You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
The following program is for mature and logical audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His supporters. There's his supporters.
What's up, witches? Hello and welcome to this Halloween edition of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Oscar the Grouch, here live in studio and in costume. And since I am garbage, you guessed it, I'm voting for Donald Trump this fall. We got a full bag of treats for you this episode, along with some tricks from our mainstream media. Topics include why Joe Biden called half the country garbage a week before a presidential election, a look into a new documentary about Donald Trump, and Joe Biden biting numerous babies during the White House Halloween event, as far as much, much more. But before we get in any of that, let's introduce the crew. Ryan Garazunas, our producer. Ryan, how are you? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, my friend. I'm doing pretty well. I was busy. I didn't catch a lot of this information. I'm hearing keywords popping out that I'm seeing online. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Do you like the new hat, by the way?
I do like the new hat, and I especially love the costume.
Thank you very much. Oscar the Grouch, it fits me perfectly. Play actually the Trump audio. We're just going to get right to audio clips, I guess, already, of him calling out. So I had to just buy it. I had to get it.
It's about everything. He said, Trump was right about everything. How about the hat? Trump was right about everything. Trump was right about everything.
There it is. Trump was right about everything. The new hat that'll be on the table through Election Day. And introducing our host, missed Monday's episode because he was at the Lurs game, Mr. Gordy. Mark, before we start, let's talk about something real quick. Yankees are up 5-0. Ground ball to first base. I believe it was Rizzo. He turns around and pulls a Joe Biden because there was nobody there to catch the ball.
Yeah, Garrett Cole left him out to dry. Garrett Cole had a no-hitter going through the first 4 innings, and then things started to collapse for the Yankees. They gave the Dodgers basically 6 outs in that 5th inning, and you had 5-0 in the 5th, the Yankees, 2 outs, and all of a sudden it's 5-5 before you know it. Aaron Judge drops a fly ball. They make another error at third base, and the Yankees go on to lose. And also lost the World Series. So I'm in mourning today. By the way, Joe, I don't know if I told you this, but a little nugget from Monday Night Football. Apparently, second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, was at Acrisure Stadium Monday night.
Did he punch any women after they... No?
We'll never know. He may have... No, never mind. Let's get into it.
All right, let's just get into the episode. Okay, so let's talk about the garbage comments right off the bat. So while Kamala was giving the biggest speech of, I guess, her campaign in Washington, D.C., Joe Biden decided to interrupt it by holding a virtual event. I guess that's what you have to call it, where he proceeded to call Trump supporters, quote, garbage. You heard the audio at the beginning of the episode. The White House, though, then tried to send out a transcript that was obviously edited. And then everyone in the media tried for a moment to claim that somehow, some way, they heard Joe Biden use an apostrophe when saying the word supporters. So the news media, once again, is trying to lie to the American people about what Joe Biden, the president, said. For example, let's look at these 2 headlines from the Washington Post, where I'll remind our audience, democracy dies in darkness. These headlines are 24 hours apart. One is written by... Let me check my notes. The owner of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, and it reads, "The hard truth, Americans don't trust the news media. A note from our owner, Jeff Bezos." That's the headline from October 28th. Now, let me read you the headline from the same exact paper on October 29th. Headline, "Did Joe Biden call Trump supporters garbage? It comes down to an apostrophe." Republicans have long strained for a new Hillary Clinton deplorables moment, but Biden's defense is entirely plausible. What? What? They're claiming there's supposed to be an apostrophe there? Talk about grammar, Nazis. But that didn't work. However, the media still made it a point to say numerous times how Joe Biden or Kamala doesn't think Trump supporters are garbage. So let me get this straight. Trump voters, supporters, we're not garbage. We're just Nazi fascists. That's all. Okay, Mark, this is why Kamala will lose on election night, right? No one believes the media anymore. They've lost credibility, and they did it trying to run cover for two awful politicians in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris while lying for about another one in Donald Trump. Am I right or am I wrong?
You are right. Where do we start here, Joe? Should we start with Jeff Bezos and the fact that 200,000 subscribers from the Washington Post canceled their memberships over the fact that they refused to endorse Kamala Harris for president? So we also talk about the fact that Jeff Bezos has ordered his staff to hire more conservative voices to write for the newspaper because he realizes the writing's on the wall. Jeff Bezos have an alternative agenda here, Joe. Does he see the writing on the wall that Trump's going to come back, daddy's home, and he's mad? But, Joe, I have to say, how does the mainstream media, the legacy media, give 2 days' worth of attention, 2 days, to Tony Hinchcliffe's joke, actually, about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage, which, again, is a joke. He's an insult comic. That's what he does, although it was in poor taste. Let's admit that. Or the sitting president of the United States calling roughly 100 million people garbage, which got all of, a few hours. Green Jean-Pierre had an insane excuse as to why he said this. It was like, Joe, I sent this to you today. Pravda, which was the communist newspaper of communist Russia during the Marxist revolution of the early 1900s. That's what we were living in. This news was actually broken by Marco Rubio, aka Little Marco. He came on the stage at a Trump rally to inform the president, Trump, the former president, that Biden called all of his supporters human garbage.
It was like a
Trump
WWF moment.
Infamous, deplorable remarks in 2016. Kelly O'Donnell from NBC blames Biden's garbage comment on a lifelong battle with stuttering. Why do they run cover? Why do they continue to run cover for him?
It's just a stutter. It's just a stutter, Mark. The apostrophe, you couldn't hear it in the stutter. Today, Biden.
Josh Shapiro, who is, let's call him what he is, a very skilled politician, completely denounced the comments right off the bat. He distanced himself as far away as possible. Joe, I was thinking, he's got to be thrilled that Kamala Harris didn't pick him as vice president because he is licking his chops. He's setting his sights on 2028. Am I right or am I wrong?
At this point right now, let's be serious. He has to be the front runner for 2028. Has to be.
Has to be. And I feel like if Kamala Harris would have picked him as vice president instead of Elmer Fudd, probably have a lot better chance to win.
Let's just quick. Let's just cover the base and say at this point you have to give it's possible he could have told her no.
Yeah, it's possible. That's a good point. I never thought about that. But the overarching theme of this whole thing, Joe, and all of our listeners out there is this deranged leftist regime. They want you to not believe things you hear with your ears and see with your eyes. They completely have this alternate reality they live in. So it doesn't matter that you heard it. You heard him say that. That's not what he said. And we've been living in this world for 4 years, Joe. Do we have the audio?
Ryan, could you just play the intro, just the audio, and then cut it off after Joe Biden says what he says twice before we get to the Thriller song again?
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
That's it. It's right there. What else? What else do you want? What else do you want there? He said, "Did you hear the apostrophe mark?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Grammar Nazis.
CNN Chiron you have here listed.
Okay, I'll read the Chiron. Do you want me to read it, or can you?
ahead.
Okay, it says
go ahead.
it says Biden. Only garbage I see are Trump supporters demonizing Latinos. That's not what was said. That's not what was said at all.
That was not what was said. But CNN wants you to believe that. That's what they want you to believe, that he meant something else. He is an 82-year-old man. And as we all know, when you get older, the older you get, that filter starts to get removed a little bit. Each passing day and each passing year, you lose that filter. And unfortunately, I mean, this is what happens with seniors. You know, especially when you're over 80. Not just seniors. I mean, when you're getting in your 80s. You know, and we all know that Joe Biden is suffering a cognitive decline. Serious. So combine those two things and said what he said.
This is an amazing campaign, everything we're seeing, and an amazing election cycle. And honestly,
I think I told you. I told my cousin this yesterday. I said, "What a time to be alive." Seriously.
It's like watching WWF. You expect Stone Cold to come out in the beer truck, and we saw that with the garbage truck. Actually, Garbage Force One. Let's actually talk about that, because for the entire morning it was going around social media and even in like our private chat. What if Trump did a garbage route in PA or somewhere like that, and then long behold, at what was it, around 5 p.m. in Wisconsin, where he was having a rally, he pulled up the Air Force One and Garbage Force One with a vest on and everything. And talk to the media about he's just awesome. I don't know how to describe it. And then at the rally, he told us he's just so real. He told the story about how he had trouble getting into the golf cart, getting into the garbage truck, and everyone, he had everyone laughing. It's just he's just real. Kamala can never do this, never ever.
No, not at all. And, I mean, we talk about sound bites and snapshots. Dan Bongino has been talking about this for months. Campaigns are about sound bites and snapshots, Joe. And I didn't expect him. The first video I saw was Vivek actually picking up the garbage. He went out and did it. And then all of a sudden, who was it? Chris LaCivita, I think it was, Joe, his campaign co-chair, said the internet is about to break. And like 10 minutes later, he tweets out a video of Trump getting into a garbage truck wearing an orange vest, taking questions from the media in the garbage truck, and then flying to a rally in Green Bay, and then doing the whole rally with the orange vest on. Complete genius. I mean, he seizes every single moment. I mean, this is the greatest campaign in the history of American politics. We will never see anything else like this again. I hope to all of our listeners, you're embracing this. You're appreciating this, and you are going to look back on this years from now and say, that was freaking awesome.
It's too funny to me. The whole thing, it's there. Did you see the reactions from the media? I mean, I thought we were going to have to declare martial law. I'm not going to lie. I heard one analyst say he doesn't even have his license to drive that truck. Really? Neither do I. Do you, Ryan?
How crazy. Come on.
He wasn't really picking up garbage.
CBS News, Joe. We have the audio from the CBS Evening News?
I don't think we do, no. I'm sorry.
Gosh, talk about Pravda, North Korean state media. They called it a campaign stunt, while Kamala promises to be a president for all. That's what they said. That's what Nora O'Donnell said on the CBS Evening News, Joe.
All right, let's move on to the art of the surge. Have you seen or heard anything about this? Because I just found this yesterday. So the art of the surge.
Joe, I've been talking about it for a while. I mean, we talked about this.
I know.
I
never seen an episode, and I finally, what I saw, it had my jaw. It was on the floor. I had to pick it up. So it's a documentary that gives us an inside look into how Donald Trump operates day to day. I guess even minute by minute, hour by hour on the campaign trail. The audio we are going to play is from a behind-the-scenes look at President Trump watching Kamala's DNC address. So, Ryan, first play her saying thank you so many times and how Trump's reacting. They're all sitting in a room, him, Dan Scavino, a bunch of others, and they're watching this. Go ahead, Ryan.
Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many thank yous. Not 20. That must be 35.
He's right. That is a lot of thank yous. I don't know if I counted 35, but it's to me. But Mark, the audio clip that I'm going to play now that caught me is how he just, and I want your audience to listen, how he just controls the room. It's all him. This is his campaign. Like, he's in charge. It's him. It's what he wants to do. Ryan, play the next one.
These scientists.
How many people are watching?
Can we tell how many, Dan? How many people are watching?
She's talking about how great San Francisco was before she destroyed it. A lot of talk about childhood. We've got to get to the border, inflation, and crime. Take Cynthia's out. The things of which she complains. The things of which she complains.
In many ways.
Mark, I like this because it's like Hard Knocks for the election. What do you think?
It is. I've been watching it since it came out the first day because I'm a member of TuckerCarlson.com.
When did it come out, if you don't mind me asking?
A couple of weeks ago. They released one episode, like they've been doing like once every twice a week maybe.
I thought it was just about the assassination because I've heard you talk about it, and I thought it was just about the assassination part. I think that might have just been the first episode, though.
Yeah, it was the first episode.
Okay.
And episode 6 came out yesterday, and I was just watching episode 6 a little bit ago. I'm like halfway through it. I'm like at the episode 6 is showing the back to Butler, the Butler rally, and I'm in the middle of J.D. Vance and Elon Musk talking backstage at the rally. By the way, Joe, J.D. Vance did Joe Rogan today, 3 hours and 17 minutes long. That came out today too. But Art of the Surge is unbelievable, and I thought that, like you said, I thought that his tweets, his truths, or whatever you want to call them, came from somebody else. It's actually Trump talking the stream of consciousness, and they're typing everything he's saying, and it's going out immediately, whether it's a tweet, a truth, a press release. His team works extremely hard. You have Margot Martin, who's deputy communications director for him, who's constantly filming, does all the social media. She plays a big part in Art of the Surge. They show Caroline Levitt, his communications director. Jason Miller is in it, one of the senior advisors. Stephen Chung, another senior advisor. Eric Trump. I mean, these are all, you see the inner workings of the Trump campaign. And you're right, you gave a perfect analogy. It is like Hard Knocks of politics. And this shows people what everyone has been wanting to see, the behind the scenes of the Trump campaign. You know, Trump in these unscripted environments where he's not on stage. And truthfully, it is unbelievable to watch. And they just took it off the paywall yesterday, I think it was, and they put it on X for free, which I think is a genius move. Mm-hmm. Now you have all these people who are able to watch it for free right before the election. So I would encourage all of you guys, all of our listeners out there, to watch it. I don't know where is it on X, on Tucker Carlson or.
I saw anything on Tucker Carlson on his X account, yeah. So it was very powerful. I loved it, man. Like I said, to get that kind of, all elections should be like this. Why not? You know, I love the transparency. All right, before we move to a commercial, I just want to mention two things. Trump, he says he's announcing that for the first time in his administration, they're going to be seizing the assets of criminal gangs and drug cartels and use those assets to create a compensation fund to provide restitution for the victims of migrant crime. Mark, yes or no, wouldn't this have been a great campaign promise for the candidate that claimed to be a former prosecutor? Right?
No, she said she prosecuted transnational gangs, Joe. We know that, and she's from the middle class. So
you don't
those
think
are my two big takeaways from Kamala.
You don't think she'll copy this?
Why didn't she?
You don't think she'll copy it, do you? There's still 4 days left. If she drops this over the weekend.
Yeah.
All right, and then you mentioned J.D. Vance on Rogan for 3 hours. I'm surprised Trump let him go 15 minutes more than he did. But J.D. Vance said on Rogan, this is the quote, he thought Trump was killed when he saw the video of him being shot in Butler, PA. He says he went into fight or flight mode, left the mini golf place where he was with his kids, went home, loaded his guns, and stood like a sentry at his front door. Is he embellishing? I don't know, but scary moment. Like I said, the front runner for the election was almost assassinated. And by the way, no answer still. All right, we got to take a break. But when we return, we're going to talk about Kamala and Joe Rogan. Can it still happen? Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logic on 99.3 FM WBVP. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
They don't call her Confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, Confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat Confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP, brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Whether you need your house washed, driveway clean, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it, call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty Decker house. Call So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. Okay, so Vance was on Rogan, I guess today, or got released today. Kamala still didn't do Joe Rogan. I guess the news story is now she wants special treatment. I guess she wanted Joe Rogan to fly to her. But remember when she went on Shannon Sharp in Atlanta? I think that was this week. Well, Kamala's campaign, they want, like I said, Joe Rogan to fly to her for a 1-hour interview, and I believe they want to film it. Go figure. I wonder what that's about. Why would Joe Rogan do that? First of all, it's his podcast. She is the guest. She comes on his show. I understand Call Her Daddy did it in a, whatever it was, hotel room, but this is Joe Rogan. This is not how he does his interviews. People come and hang out before they talk, and it's unscripted, and it's for hours. But she can't do that. That's why she can't do Joe Rogan. At this point, it would look too much. It just would be a total disaster. Imagine some of the questions, how they would go. Joe Rogan, just sitting there. Jamie, pull up the video. Now Biden calls half the country garbage, you know, as you're going on stage to give a big speech at a campaign event. Do you think he's sabotaging you on purpose? What's up with that? The questions are going to be crazy, Mark. She's in a pickle here in her campaign. It's embarrassing. I'm going to play this audio and then I'm going to hand it to you, Mark, because I'm going to be laughing. She was at a rally and she made everyone, they were all chanting Kamala, 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 which is weird because at Trump rallies, everyone chants, USA or America. They don't really chant Trump. But Kamala then turned and gave her audience instructions that were just dumb. Ryan, play that audio.
Okay, now I want each of you to shout your own name. Do that. Because it's about all of us. It's about all of us. And listen, I have fought my whole career to put the people first.
The crowd didn't know what to say. Are they that scripted in the crowd? Are they that many actors?
Wow.
So cringe.
I wanted them to do it. I wanted to hear it sound like Helen Keller, all screaming at once.
Every moment is just extremely cringe with her, Joe. By the way, she is having a rally Monday night at Point State Park from 3 to 7. Joe, should we go?
When is it? Monday? No, we have our last
Monday night, 3 to 7.
That is tempting.
We got to go. We got to go and yell she's a war criminal like everyone does at her rally.
I would have to think of what I would yell. I would have to think really hard. And you know what sucks? Though? She's like the last person. I would rather go see Hillary Clinton or someone else. Like, she is the last person. That tells you how bad she sucks. I don't even want to protest her. Because why?
Can we do the radio show from out of Point State Park from the rally? That would be unbelievable. Trump's having a rally Monday at TPG Paints.
Really?
Think about it.
The smaller rally down the street.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's actually going to happen. We actually could go to the smaller rally down the street if we get kicked out.
Yeah.
Did you?
His Lord.
Yes, he is. Speaking of Jesus, Kamala almost had a come to Jesus moment. Did you see she almost lost a finger visiting the semiconductor plant?
I did.
I don't know anything about, Ryan, do you know anything about semiconductors?
I do not.
Are they sharp? Apparently they're sharp, or the metal is sharp. So she was walking in the semiconductor manufacturing area and she went to touch one of the pieces and the guy was like, whoa, do not touch. Just play the audio. Play the audio.
Here is actually a harvested U-Rod where we actually do grow it. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of our process of bag. Do not touch it.
Do not.
Yes.
I'm glad I asked.
So please do not touch that in the
And I
powder.
won't
Yes,
touch
very
that.
sharp. Very sharp. Yeah,
Okay.
very sharp.
Okay,
So
it's shiny.
with that being said,
It's like Joe Biden again. 12 people had to come up and tell her it's very sharp, don't touch it. The only way this could be any worse is if we go back to Joe Biden and he started licking knives while visiting cutlery manufacturers or something. I just don't know. Mark, what else do we want to talk about with this woman? I don't even know. I feel like 5 days before the election, we should focus a little bit more about Kamala. But it's all Joe Biden doing the bad stuff, isn't it?
I'm convinced that there is a war between not Joe and Kamala necessarily, but between the inner circles of each person, and that is why they are scheduling these things at the same time as she's having these major speeches. Joe, I don't know. I don't think that Biden intentionally is doing this. I think his people are trying to sabotage her.
I got to ask. So, where is Tim Walz in this? Because did you see what he was doing on stage yesterday? He did
not.
Ryan, you could even look this up for yourself. I should have sent it to you. On Tuesday, while on stage with Kamala Harris, you know, his running mate, he started acting like a ballerina and kicking up his legs for some reason, like the dun 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 dun. Dun. Ryan, look it up. Just you might be able to type in Tim Walz ballerina, and that actually might come up. I'm telling you, I'm going to make a prediction. I'll bet Tim Walz eats his corn on the cob the long way.
I'm looking it up now.
That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, let me ask you guys something. When I think Mark just said, or I think it was you, Joe, 5 days. We're only 5 days out. Does anybody know what Kamala's politics are?
No, we still don't know. I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. The signs say the signs that say Harris Walz say Kamala.com at the bottom. I should go on and look it up again.
But do you think this would be something that at some point during her campaign she would have felt?
She did address it. Remember, she copied and pasted Joe Biden's. And they had like the metadata on there and everything. That was, I guess, that. So just think back of what Joe Biden was doing about a year ago. That's
jeez.
She'll flip flop once I hope it doesn't happen, but if she gets
elected. But that's the thing. She doesn't even, she doesn't have anything out there. Usually, it's bold. Bold strategy, Cotton, but it might work. It's interesting, yeah, to say the least.
All right, we all got to talk about this one. I don't think Ryan saw this one. Ryan took a day off. I should have just sent him all this. I figured there's no way this one could escape him. Ryan or Mark, did you see? I'm trying to wrap my head around. First of all, Joe and Joe Biden coming out with a panda bear for the Halloween celebration. But did you see Joe Biden nibbling on small children while at the White House Halloween event?
I didn't. I seen a panda bear somewhere in my my browsing, but I didn't see this. No.
Joe Biden, Mark, am I making this up? He bit 2 children. He bit 2 children on separate occasions. Am I making this up?
You are not. I don't know if he bit them as much as he had their legs.
Was there skin or clothes in his mouth?
Around the leg?
Was there skin or clothes in his mouth?
Yes.
Yeah, see, there shouldn't be nothing in that man's mouth.
4 years ago, that would have been honestly a attempted murder with COVID on a child. On a child. Now you can eat children. Well, I don't want to say that. We don't want to go QAnon. Eat children, and we're not going to go there. All right, continue on, Mark, because that was the funniest. Watching, just going on to social media, and the first thing that pops up is a bunch of pictures with Joe Biden with an infant's leg in its mouth.
I texted you last night. I sent it to you, and I just said, dude, what's going on?
He gets like, do you ever see when a child comes around him? He's like, he like comes to life and like just like these eyes and just like child detected and just like focuses on them and seeks them out and sniffs them, or I don't know. It's weird. It's like the cartoon. It's like the cartoons with like the stink lines that come up and go like up his nose and he can smell it. And he's like a pie
across the room,
like a pie on the window. Is the child.
Joe, what is the significance of Joe Biden dressing as a panda? I mean, I've read some things about this. What is up with that?
Oh, I mean, we did mention QAnon. That's a child. That's a child. The Sound of Freedom or whatever. Isn't that like a child abuse thing, like sexual abuse? The panda. I think it's.
I don't know.
I don't even know what you get into. I think it's called Panda Eyes. You Google it if you want. Panda Eyes, audience. Google it if you at your own risk. But yeah, didn't 2 pandas just come to America from China? Because China has a monopoly on the pandas. I don't know if anyone knows that. I know there was. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. But pandas for Halloween seems strange. And of course, Joe Biden didn't even dress as a vampire, but acted like one around small children. All right. Anything else? Anything else we want to cover before we head to a commercial break?
I wonder what they handed out last night, Joe.
Smaller candy bars, shrinkflation.
Unwrap that candy before. Unwrap that candy before you give it to your kid.
Oh, definitely. Especially if Hunter Biden's still living there. All right. Anyway, I guess that was the thing when we were growing up. That people were putting drugs in the candy. Now we're thinking like, no, who would put drugs in candy? Now it seems like all the adults are on drugs. At least the ones that are voting for comment. I'm not going to say it. All right. It's Halloween. Do you remember when Joe Biden called out? Remember Jackie Walorski, the House of Representatives Republican that died in that car crash? And Joe Biden just kept on calling her name out. It was at an event honoring her, and he just kept on calling her out after she died over and over and over again. We got a little, I guess, skip for you going into the commercial. It's Joe Biden on Paranormal Activity. Enjoy.
This weekend, on an all-new episode of Paranormal Activity.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie?
When President Biden becomes convinced that the White House is haunted, the press sets up cameras to catch the spirit on video.
Are you here? Where's Jackie? Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? Are you here? Are you here? Jackie, are you here?
It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gala of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
Tune in to Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Frank will talk about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There's also music to get you started for the day. The show is brought to you by Patriot Home Care. So set your radio dial to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. We're streamed live on BeaverCountyRadio.com, so you can listen every morning on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically. Earlier we were talking about Biden's garbage comments and referring to Trump supporters. Also, what's more dangerous, grammar Nazis or the Nazi supporters that Donald Trump has? And Joe Biden, I don't want to say biting small children on the White House lawn, like his dog, Commander, I guess. I don't know. All right, now we're going to get into the election results. They're here already, Mark. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? The election results. ABC accidentally aired election results of Kamala Harris winning PA by 5% with 100% in. Didn't they do this in Arizona too, Mark?
I remember 4 years ago. They did the same thing. Now, I don't know what the point of that was, but it was on TV. I don't know if it was some sort of they were just doing a test run. I'm sure that's what they were doing, but why have Kamala Harris win by 5 points?
I'm sorry, we got community noted. It's an affiliate of ABC, WNEP. So just to be clarified, because we'll be fact checked, but it did show up on air. And why? How? Who controls this? Ryan, Ryan controls the thing.
By 5 points.
Ryan controls the screen for the live stream. Does it say crazy Nazi, or does it say thinking logically?
Thinking logically.
Okay. Does it have the results for any election yet? No. I just don't. Mark, how does this happen? It can't happen. It shouldn't happen, right?
If she wins PA by 5 points, that would be one of the biggest surprises of the election. I don't think that's even possible right now. But
if she wins PA by 4 points, 3-2, what, half, a quarter? Dear Lord. Let's actually talk about the polls here. Let's get into the polls.
I love polls. So Atlas Intel. Why do we bring up Atlas Intel, Joe and Ryan? Atlas Intel was the most accurate pollster during the 2020 election. They just released their final poll approximately 1 hour ago, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time here on the East Coast. And this is a full field, swing states. Let's go down through all 7 of them. Arizona. They have Trump leading by 4.9%. Now, this is not head-to-head. This is full field, 4.9%. North Carolina, Trump leading by 4%. Nevada, Trump up 3.6%. Georgia, Trump up 1.6%. Pennsylvania, Trump leading by 1.1%. Michigan, Trump up by 0.9%. In Wisconsin, Trump up by 0.3%, Joe. He is leading in all of the swing states in all of the Atlas Intel's final polling. Based on that, the electoral map shows Trump collecting 312 electoral votes. Doesn't mention also, Joe, they think New Mexico's in play. He just did a rally in New Mexico. 5 electoral votes there. Virginia's probably a long shot, 13 electoral votes, but anything's possible. New Hampshire is now a toss-up, Joe. New Hampshire, toss-up. The Republicans are killing it in the early vote in New Jersey. Who knows? I mean, maybe New Jersey is a miracle, but this is what we're looking at right now. And Atlas Intel also has Kerry Lake up 0.7% in Arizona.
just a month ago, she was down by four points. If Arizona goes to Kari Lake, that would be massive for the Senate. I want to talk about the Senate in a second after we get through some of these other polls. A national poll, full field, national, Trump up 1.9%. That's an electoral landslide. You have some links in here from Echelon Insights. Echelon Insights is a Republican-leaning pollster. They just released their final poll, 2:40 today. Trump leading Pennsylvania by 6 points. Trump leading Florida. I mean, it's going to be a blowout in Florida. He's going to run it up in Florida. This is some signal. He's leading the Cuban vote by 28 points, all Hispanics by 10 points in Florida. And you have the Atlas Intel thing here from Colin Rugg. So this is looking good. And I just saw something here a little bit ago. Kamala Harris acknowledged that she is down. He said, despite what the polls say, something like, I'm feeling good about my chances, something along those lines. So she has acknowledged that she's losing. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So a decade ago, you remember the swing states were Ohio, Florida, Iowa, probably still missing one or two. Now those are all kind of heavy R these days. So how are we losing elections, and how is this even close? It's a good question. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. Does it?
That's a great question, Joe. I mean, this is all going to come down to Pennsylvania. I mean, really. I mean, if you ask me,
the Keystone
only path to victory is Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I don't think she's going to win North Carolina, although it's possible. It's apparently a toss-up there. I don't think she's going to win Georgia. She's not going to win Arizona. She may win Nevada. But without Pennsylvania, she cannot win. So Trump wins Pennsylvania. I think we're going to win Pennsylvania by the end of the night, Joe. What do you think?
I would have said no 2-3 weeks ago, but after watching Josh Shapiro actually go after people for, I don't want to say election fraud, but election interference maybe? I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit more confident in Pennsylvania. And props to Josh Shapiro. We'll see if he keeps up on election night. This could be all just,
Yeah. This is from Axios, Joe. Published this article 33 minutes ago. This is an internal memo. It says, what Trump is being told. Internal memo by Tony Fabrizio, chief pollster for all three Donald Trump's presidential campaigns, tells the former president he's in a radically better position than he was right before the 2020 election. So,
did you cover the Polymarket poll?
Polymarket poll, Trump plunged 5 points today in the Polymarket. Betting odds. He went down to 60% in the Polymarket.
Let me explain that. So you're betting into a market, just like how with the NFL sports betting work. And everyone thinks Vegas controls the line. False. That's not how it works. Vegas does not control the lines. Vegas does not move the line. Vegas is the middleman. It's just what happens is people see value in Kamala at that whatever percentage that was, that value. So they're going to bet Kamala at that. Just like a team, a professional NFL gambler might see the Steelers are -3 and he sees value in that and he bets a lot of money on that, and then the line eventually goes to 3.5 or 4. That's all it is. And then it goes back down because people see value in 4.5 and they start betting at 4.5 and it drives it back down. So that's all you're seeing there. It's just it's a market. It's a market, and you're seeing action in the market. That's all. It doesn't mean anything at all. All it means is that Kamala's odds got so good to bet on that people had no choice but to bet on him. All right. Speaking of odds, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, Joe, where do you see any errors in polling? I mean, do you think that the election is going to play out according to how these polls are showing right now, or do you think there's going to be a polling miss one way or another? And if so, what the miss is going to be?
I wanted to say Wisconsin because you really can't tell whose party's voting for who because of how the rules are. But we're biased. I would say maybe Kamala wins Wisconsin in Pennsylvania, but still loses. That would be crazy at this point now. But I think the swing states, like I said, might be more Virginia, New Hampshire. I don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to find out on election night. Or it's going to be very close where it's going to be a position where you would not want to be in if you're a Democrat or Kamala Harris.
I will tell you, well, speaking of Wisconsin, apparently Eric Hubdy is right there with Timmy Baldwin. Like, it's a toss-up, that race for the Wisconsin Senate seat. So that's another one to watch. If he could somehow pull that out, that'd be amazing. Mike Rogers is losing to Alyssa Slotkin in Michigan by a couple points. Dave McCormick, Joe, it feels like, now Alice Intel has McCormick down by like 2 or 3 points here in PA, but it feels like McCormick's getting all the momentum in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know, but we're biased, like you said. I am worried. I'll tell you what worries me is the women coming out to vote in droves for Kamala Harris. That is my only concern, really. I think a low voter turnout in some of these urban areas is going to help Trump ultimately. And I think a lot of people that have never voted before, Trump's leading massively amongst people who have never voted before. So I think Kamala's only chance is having women come out in droves that support her, based on the Roe versus Wade overturn. That still plays out from 2022. Then Trump might not win. But, the numbers are looking good. The polls are looking good. We're in a good situation right now. So, he's got to pray on it, and hopefully we get the result we want.
Yes. Also, we got to watch the machines, Mark, and that's before we go to a break. That's our next category here, the Dominion machines. Mike Lindell is a big Dominion guy. He always talks about the machines. We need to melt down the machines and turn them into the bars for prison. This is from... No, I don't know who this is from on X. Anyway, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says there is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals, preventing voters from making certain selections. That's weird. And this is from A Muse on X. Colorado posted the passwords to its Dominion voting machines online for months without realizing their mistake. There are now calls for Secretary of State Jenna Griswold's resignation for this and many other failures during her tenure. Remember, this is Colorado, too, so I want to just remind our audience that Tina Peters was a Colorado county clerk, and she's also a Gold Star mom. She was recently sentenced to prison this month, I think 9 years, for attempting to prove there was voting irregularities in 2020 with the Dominion voting machines in Colorado. Wow. Would you look at that, Mark? Anything before we get into this little, you got time, before we get into this little skit that we have with Mike Lindell fighting the machines?
No, obviously that worries a lot of people too, the Dominion voting machines and the voting integrity and things like that. But it's hard to prove it, Joe. If they were to switch votes around, how do you prove something like that? I don't know. I'm not in the inner workings of these elections, so we'll see.
All right, Ryan, are you a big fan of the Terminator franchise?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Did you know that Mike Lindell did his own Terminator movie?
I did not.
Yeah, it was a spoof, obviously. We're going to play the trailer for the first one here right now, live on air, 99.3 FM. WBVP has the trailer. Go ahead and play it, Ryan. Dominionator, I believe, is the name of the movie.
In the year 2020, a weapon was used. This weapon was destructive, had no paper trail, and no memory, and served only one purpose: to steal the future via cheating through elections. Now one man has traveled back in time to try to stop these Dominion machines.
If it takes me to lose everything, I want to save our country, and we have to get rid of the machines. I've said that since day one.
What day is it? The date? 12th May, Thursday.
What year? I knew it! It's the machines!
Right there. The machine!
Coming to a theater near you this fall, it's Dominion, Rise of the Machines.
We'll end up with no machines ever in the United States or the world again. And we're going to get rid of these machines once and for all. And when it all plays out, the biggest problem I think we're going to have is we're not going to have enough machines to melt down.
When Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, When he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
By now you've noticed the road and bridge construction and the high-speed internet to make Beaver County more competitive. It's your tax dollars at work, the largest investment in rural America ever. It's the work of Republicans teaming up with Democrats, led by Kamala Harris. 12 times Donald Trump held press conferences about fixing our infrastructure, but didn't support the bill. He didn't want to put money in Pennsylvania. He wants the money to go to billionaires. Trump even opposed a joint effort to fix the border problem. Nor did he build the wall, even though he took our tax dollars for that. Giving away our tax money to billionaires like Elon Musk is how Trump ran up the largest deficit ever. Trump's no conservative. He's just using government money to make his friends richer. Donald Trump couldn't care less about the people of Beaver County. He screwed us the first time. He'll do it again. America's Future Majority Fund paid and is responsible for the content of this advertising. AmericasFutureMajority.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Wow, American Future Majority Fund got that totally wrong about Donald Trump. Anyway.
He doesn't care about Beaver County.
He's only been here a couple times. Yeah, he only got shot in the county next over and came back again. Anyway. Ryan, do you like that movie? You're going to go, I mean, there's a trilogy, by the way, so part 2 and 3 we're going to play on Monday.
That was cool. I did like it, yes.
You have to stay tuned to see if Mike Lindell is able to defeat the machines. But, okay, we got a few more stories to get to here. Mark, jump in whenever. Paul Pelosi attacker David DePepe Le Pew, I'm just kidding, it's David DePepe. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole for his attack with a hammer on Paul Pelosi. Mark, they really did bring the hammer down on this guy. Jeez.
Life without parole. I mean, I could see 10 or 20 years in jail for what he did, but life without parole?
How did he get
kill anybody?
There was fresh ice in the glass. I heard it. How did he get into the house? Why are they all smiling, holding the hammer? I mean, come on. All right. What could be weirder than that situation is seeing your hero, your action hero when you were a kid, the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, sitting in a chair next to creep John Podesta and making a video endorsing Kamala Harris. That tells you everything you need to know, I guess, right, Mark?
Yes.
This makes me sad. I like Arnold. I liked Arnold until 2021, I think.
Well, let's not forget, he was married to Maria Shriver, who is first cousins with Bobby Kennedy. And the whole Kennedy family hates Bobby. So, and Maria also did a town hall with Kamala. So,
wait a minute. So both them women had issues. No, hold on, wait. What's the connection there between Maria Shriver and Kamala? Their husbands. Arnold Schwarzenegger got a maid pregnant. Oh, Doug did too. That's. I was trying, honestly, it slipped my mind. I was trying to think. I go, there's something there. I forgot. Doug got the housekeeper pregnant, and so did Arnold. And then Arnold's husband, Maria Shriver, or Arnold's wife, ex-wife, Maria Shriver, because that's what happens whenever you do that with the housemaid, I guess, and keep it a secret. And then Kamala, we're talking. Meanwhile, both their husbands knocked up their nannies or housekeepers. That's got to be weird. I wish I would have had a question in the crowd. All right. Moving on, I guess. What do we got? Like 5 minutes. Mark, we've been following this from Zero Hedge. Pentagon says a small number of North Korean troops are already in Russia's Kursk Oblast region, with a couple thousand moving toward that region soon. And I think they're actually there. So Korean and U.S. mercenaries are about to start shooting each other in Ukraine, Mark. Is that going to be good for business here?
Well, if you're in the military-industrial complex, it is. Maybe not for American citizens, but keep an eye on Iran, Joe. Apparently, Iran is going to retaliate. There you go. Is going to retaliate very soon against Israel. So I guess we're just going to keep going back and forth until something, we use nuclear weapons, apparently, because they're just going to keep doing this. So if Iran retaliates, Israel's going to retaliate. Where does it end, Joe?
I don't know, but would you call Iran a garbage country? Would you call the supporters of Benjamin Netanyahu garbage? Because Joe Biden, instead of focusing, because he's the president, on stuff going around, he's president until January 6th. Let me say that real quick. So January 6th, Ryan, who was the president on January 6th, 2021?
Was it still?
It was still Trump.
Still Trump, yeah.
So how could you overthrow and have an insurrection? How could you overthrow the government? It was Donald Trump. Just like if something happens on January 6th this year, who are we? If we go into war on January 6th, 2025, Joe Biden's the president. We got to do this narrative. January 6th, again, it should have fallen apart already. It wasn't an insurrection. How could you have an insurrection against a sitting? Trump would have been out in 2 weeks anyway. It doesn't make any sense. It's comical. I don't know how I got off. Mark, how did I go off on that tangent?
I don't know.
All right, this is funny. Google has been fined a staggering $20 decillion. That's with a lot of zeros. It's not as much as a Google, is a one with 100 zeros after, but it's close. So they've been fined $20 decillion by a Russian court, and that's more than all the money in the world, according to reports. So
all the money in the world.
So should I short Google on the stock exchange? How does this work? Can I make money off this? No, apparently not. All right, we got to wrap up here. Before we do, Mark, they're telegraphing what they're going to do. Did you see what Jamie Raskin said? He said it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs he's disqualified. So does that mean that even if Trump wins, is he saying it out loud that he cannot hold office? He cannot be certified? That's what he's saying, right? Jamie Raskin.
Yeah, they're setting this up, Joe. The whole rhetoric, the whole fascist rhetoric, the whole, worshiping Hitler rhetoric, all of this is setting up how they're going to frame this argument when Trump wins. When Trump wins, they're going to say that he is a threat to democracy. We're going to see the same playbook from 2020, except throw in the fascist stuff, throw in this, throw in that, and you're going to see people out there protesting left and right. Cities are probably going to be riots going on everywhere. And these people are going to be applauded by the mainstream media as sticking up and defending democracy. And that's after that, Joe, I have no idea where we're going. I have a hard time believing they're just going to let Trump waltz back into the White House and get sworn in on January 20th without something major happening between Election Day and January 6th, the certification. So I have no idea where this is going, but buckle up, folks. Buckle up, buckaroos, as Caitlyn Jenner would say on South Park. I agree, though. It's going to make the summer of love in 2020 look like an 8th grade ice cream social. But what do we got? We got about 3 minutes left. So Monday's episode will be an hour and a half. I think we're going to be here 5 to 6:30 p.m. We got a nice episode planned out. We're going to have a lot of fun, but we want as many people to call in to get your opinion. We rested our case the last week here, and we're going to have probably a 15-minute rant next episode on Monday, and literally we're going to rest our case. We want to hear from you, so tell your friends to call in. Tell people that are voting for Harris to call in. We'll be nice. I promise. Mark, anything before we get out of here? Joe, great episode, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. Guys, stay vigilant, stay alert. We are almost at the finish line here, Joe. We've been doing this for 2.5 years, and we have left no stone unturned. We're going to have our closing argument on Monday. Hopefully, our man gets the victory, because we are in deep trouble. He doesn't.
Okay. Happy Halloween, everyone. Remember to be safe, and remember to watch out for kids on the road today. We have 124 hours and a minute and 13 seconds until the polls close here in Pennsylvania. We'll be here on Monday, an hour-and-a-half episode giving you everything, but we want you to call. We want to hear from you guys. So we'll be here Monday, 5 to 6:30 p.m., Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP.